Power Hour LSU. Boom!
All night long. Yes.
Let's freaking go. I am sad to report that Terry Bussey has committed to the Texas 8-4 Mike Elgo Aggies. How big of a loss is this? How do you feel about this? This has been a young man that we have discussed quite a bit at length. So I'm going to break this down from so many different angles. And normally when a big recruit is making an announcement, I start pre-recording actual film so you can get my film breakdown of Terry Bussey. And I decided not to do this because I had no idea what he was going to do. The entire time it was 50-50, right? I've heard from people close to Corey Raymond that he had pretty much no idea where this was going. People close to people on the staff really had no idea where this was going. It was truly a 50-50 decision that LSU honestly put a lot of effort into, but in the grand scheme of things, he decided to stick with Texas A&M, which was a school he was committed to, and he honestly never actually decommitted from Texas A&M. So shows you a little bit of loyalty. I do think this is a loss. I did like Terry Bussey, but I don't feel this is a ginormous loss for a couple of reasons. The first is, yes, he is a 5-star, but this was not, to me, in my eyes, a Harold Perkins level prospect, right? And that's how I really gauge defensive players, right? Are you so unbelievably good that you can really change the outcome of multiple games over the course of a season like Harold Perkins has done during his career at LSU? I never really saw that, but I did see something really good in Terry Bussey's game, right? A sub 11,100 meters. So athletically, he's really gifted, even though he is undersized. But like Harold Perkins, he was also positionally ambiguous, right? This is a guy who played at a really low level of Texas high school football, and he played quarterback, he played safety, he played defensive back, and, well, we don't know what his best position is going to be at the next level. Is he a receiver? Is he someone that you absolutely have to play both ways? I don't know. But the truth is, he is a very gifted player, and I would have loved him playing for LSU, but it's not an unreal slam dunk decision. This is not a Louisiana prospect either that Texas got into the Louisiana border and took him back to Texas A&M. This doesn't feel as stingy as, let's say, someone like a Jacoby Matthews when he went to Texas A&M over LSU, and Jacoby Matthews has turned out to be a very good player. So, and he also, like Terry Bussey, was a 5-star caliber athlete who ended up going from quarterback to defensive back at the next level. So, you know, I don't feel hurt. I think you guys can normally feel my energy, and you know, and some of you are saying this wasn't really a 50-50 situation. You guys felt he was going to Texas A&M the entire way. I don't know. It's just not how I read it. I'll tell you this: LSU felt good, right? They put a lot of effort into it. But let me give you a little bit of an outside take on this scenario. I do think if Terry Bussey was a part of the early signing period, we would not be talking about him so much. And we would not be hyping his commitment up so much, right? And what I mean by that is, well, if you look at recruiting, everyone signs during the early period. And this year, Terry Bussey was the only late signing period signee out there, right? that we were going after that we had not already gotten committed to the class, right? LSU has a huge high school class. So the idea that this ended up being an unreal, massive loss is probably, rooted in the fact that there was no other high school committing on the actual signing day. So since he was the final one, it just built up all this hype, and he was a 5-star player. And I think that also played into him getting talked about so unbelievably much. So look, I also say this: Texas A&M could be an absolute disaster next year, and he might be one of the only good players on their team next year, which I don't believe. I think Texas A&M has some talent going into next year with Wigman and Bryce Anderson and Jacoby and those guys. But I it could happen with the modern transfer portal. It's probably not smart to just trash some kid because he decided to go somewhere else, especially when he really didn't do up to this point anything nefarious or two-faced or anything like that. I honestly think he was torn between the two, and he actually ended up just picking Texas A&M. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Now, before I get to your comments, okay, I do want to show you the 2024 recruiting class, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on how this class actually played out. And honestly, I'm going to make you feel something you probably haven't felt in quite some time, okay, especially on this channel. I really, really, really do like this recruiting class, okay? This feels, I don't think they're going to be as good, but the best recruiting class in LSU history was 7 years ago. The 2017 recruiting class at LSU. To me, it's going to take a lot for that recruiting class in terms of hit rate and whatnot to be surpassed, right? Well, in 2017, the recruiting class was around this rank, right? 2024 was a 7th ranked class according to 247. The 2017 class was in that 7th ranked. So this class is going to come in not really overhyped, but they're going to come in and act professional and hopefully take this class to the next level. And what's very interesting is we're teaming up with Tylen Singleton and Gabriel Relaford. They're going to be signing autographs alongside Debo Atkins and a few other recruits. It's all going down February 17th in just a few weeks, okay? Free show. It's the Arclitex Memorabilia Card Show, okay? Just to give you, while you look at this Skims ad in the background, here you go. Bang. Okay. Ahmad Bro's going to be there as well. I love Ahmad out of Ruston. So you better get there. February 17th is going to be a free event. You are absolutely, positively going to love it. But I really do like this recruiting class. I think Deshaun McBride and Tylen Singleton in particular have a path to playing time pretty quickly. If they're able to adapt and pick up the scheme. Obviously, Joel Rogers is another athlete I really like a lot. You have a ton of offensive linemen, a quarterback who's done a lot of the recruiting for you. Devon Keys, Kalaj Cobbins, PJ Woodland. Kari Lee is my most underrated player in this class. I think he is a 4-star prospect, and most services have him as a 3-star. And you then get down to the kids that have not enrolled yet. You get to your top 100 prospects. Trey Green, top 100, 5-star, who has shot up the rankings. Weston Davis, Kylan Billiard has shot up the rankings. He is officially now a top 100 prospect. Caden Durham is going to come into this class. To me, he is a top 3 player in this crop. CJ Jackson, Jelani Watkins, Jawan Johnson. Jawan Johnson's probably going to take this as, some motivation. He is like Terry Bussey, right? A do-it-all quarterback at the high school level who has receiver and DB capabilities at the Division I Power 5 level. There's Debo Atkins. You'll see him a few weeks. Michael Turner, Ori Williams, Demarion Johnson, Wallace Foster, Aaron Burrell, and, of course, the biggest one of them all, 5-star plus, which means every service ranks him as a 5-star, Dominic McKinley. And then we finish up this recruiting class. This is obviously going to be added on to over the next couple of weeks. Jair Brown, Jordan Gilbert, Austin Osbury, Xavier Thomas, AJ Swan, and the biggest transfer of them all, CJ Daniels from the portal. Okay. I wanted to run through all the kids that actually did do the right thing and commit to the best university on the planet, LSU. So shout out to the young men who are coming to LSU. They're probably tired of hearing about Terry Bussey, and they're like, don't forget about me. This is the largest high school signing class, I think, ever at LSU. 29 high school recruits. Add on the 6 transfer portal players. This is going to be freaking insane. So, look, we go to Hakeem right here. We say hi to Blanche, a lot of PHL legends, Shorty, Kenneth, Chance, Rob B, T Mill, Mac Daddy Donk. Let's go to Hakeem, who says, if I'm not mistaken, we have 8 safeties and 10 cornerbacks. So all that we missed on them, we could develop Stamps, Hughes, Toviano, Jair Brown, Zy Alexander, J.K. Johnson. Yeah, this I'll say this, and I don't think even Texas A&M fans would disagree with this. This was a bigger loss. This would have been a bigger loss for them than it was for us. Even though Texas A&M's DBs, I actually like them a lot going into next season. This LSU defensive back room is good. It's really freaking good. Okay, so yeah, I got to be real with you, man. I am excited about the players that we're going to have locked in, and hopefully they turn into what we expect them to turn into. Right? Maybe Javian Toviano takes that next leap. Maybe someone like Jeremiah Hughes comes out of the woodwork and gives you some corner reps next season. Ashton Stamps, who went through a minor procedure and played hurt, during the course of this season. So if Terry Bussey was actually going to play DB, we would have had a logjam at the defensive back position. But I would include this, all right? New coaching staff is in, all right? Most of these guys don't know Jake Olson, and quite a few of them do know Corey Raymond just from the recruiting trail when he was at Florida. But still, these are new players for both of these DB coaches and a new defensive coordinator. So maybe Terry Bussey was someone that was higher on their board and would be one of their guys. So there you go. Now, let me know if you guys love the morning streams. I don't mind going live in the mornings. I love going, getting up early, getting my day going. I'll get a workout in after this. And look, I'm all ears. If you guys want me to talk about any high school prospect at length, I will happily do so. Okay. I'm still going through and evaluating all their senior film. And I keep going back to one player. And I'll tell you this. Could be wrong on him, and that's perfectly fine. But there are some guys you just stick your feet in the dirt for, and one of those guys is Kari Lee. I don't know. I don't get it. I'm a little shocked that he was a player that never really rose up the rankings. There might be something that I don't know. I don't know him personally, but I think I'm just seeing something when I watch him play. Okay. Still at this point, there was not a single service that rated him a 4-star. Okay. And I'm always a little bit more hesitant with 4-star offensive linemen compared to 3-star offensive linemen. But look, we've had a lot of 3-star offensive linemen turn out to be really good football players. So I think Kari Lee is going to be one of the main sleepers in this class. I like him. But then again, offensive line evaluation is tricky. It's very, very, very tricky. And look, he's going to have to battle out a really good group of offensive linemen. Cohen Eccles played at a high level at Katy, Texas, and played multiple positions. Ethan Callaway, even though he's more of an offensive tackle, he'll be in there. Weston Davis, Joseph Big Hoss Cryer, for a lot of you, is the sleeper. So it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Let's go to Matthew. Unless I am missing something, we're going to need to find some productive defensive tackles in the spring portal window. Yeah, I have no update, Tobo, on any recent LSU defensive line additions. I did spend quite some time talking about Sean Washington. I still believe Dominic McKinley will get a chance to play a lot. I do feel he is more of a year two guy. I do. And that doesn't mean I don't think he's good. Obviously, athletically, he is very, very, very special. But I think what happened a few years ago, and it's not all LSU fans, it's just some, but what happened a few years ago was we had a 15-person high school signing class because we had a transition year with the new coach. And of those 15 high school signees, 4 were starters, and they were all very good players as true freshmen. And then there was a 5th who played some, and that was Demario Tolan. He already went somewhere else. But in that true freshman season, we had Mason Taylor, Harold Perkins, Emory Jones, and Will Campbell. And all 4 of them are still stellar football players, right? And what happened was that some fans began to feel that more high school guys should get playing time as true freshmen. And, I am open to that idea. And there are some that believe Brian Kelly pushes against that, especially with Whit Weeks and Javian Toviano. Them the very bizarre situations with their playing time. But I want it to be known how hard it is to play Division I high school football as true freshmen. I say high school football as true freshmen coming out of high school. Okay. And when you really think about it, there's just not many in the history of LSU football that were exceptional football players right off the jump, like a Will Campbell was. And even a guy like Mason Taylor had some struggles early in the season. So, Patrick Peterson's one, Jamal Adams is another. I mean, the list goes on and on. Most of the great LSU football players did not play as true freshmen. So, yes, these kids are going to get a golden opportunity because the defense was so bad and our 2 deep is relatively shallow. But one thing that's also different is numbers-wise, LSU has a lot of scholarship players where just a few years ago, there just weren't that many. And it was true tabula rasa across the way, clean slate. Anyone had a chance to play. Anyone had a chance to win a job. This year, it's going to be a little bit tougher. Okay. This year, it's going to be a little bit tougher. Okay. So there you go. And yeah, we talked quite a bit about Jaleel Muhammad. That was a guy Bo Davis really wanted. Chance, who's also in the chat, likes Jaleel Muhammad a lot. I do too. And the difference is he's a little bit more of like a playmaking 3 technique defensive tackle, right? He's not going to be a space eater. So he is the antithesis of what like a Tyler Shelvin is. I'm trying to think of a good comp for him. Obviously, in a perfect world, someone like a Kalijah Cansey out of Pitt, who had a really good rookie season for the Buccaneers, would be what you would think of someone like that. So that would be really freaking awesome. Okay. Beside a sports card strategy. What's up, Paul Hickey? Good to see you. Very happy to be affiliated with nooffseason.com. Good to see you. Let's go to Show Enough here with the Terry Bussey. Looking at his high school stats, why the heck would we want him to be a defensive player only? Well, look, I'll tell you this. It's important to look at the tape as well. Okay. So Terry Bussey was mostly a quarterback, and he was an electric quarterback. They ran a very RPO heavy type of offense where they just had him out there reading everything, right? Where he was the sole proprietor of the offense. Like every decision was made by him. And you can do that at a lower level, right? So, for instance, Terry Bussey and Juwan Johnson are very similar. They were dominant, transcendent, championship level high school quarterbacks. But you could still make the case for them to play offense, just not at quarterback. And you can also make the case for them to play defense, right? It's all trying to figure out what the best role is for them at the next level. And there's a lot of players that are like this, right? Ruben Randall was a quarterback in high school, but he's a receiver. So you do have to do some evaluations for how they will transition to the next level. But it's not here nor there. I think Juwan Johnson is going to be a fine defensive back, right? And you also got to ask this question as well, show enough. Would Terry Bussey or Juwan Johnson help you out more on offense or defense if they both went to LSU? Well, this year it is a little bit more ambiguous because LSU's wide receiver room is not as proven as it was going into last year. But I do feel they would give you more as a DB. Okay? That I do. All right. Let's go to Eat Up. Bussey plays 2A ball in Texas. It's literally the lowest classification in the state for 11-man football. It's true. Texas does a lot of 6-man, 8-man kind of football, right? They do a lot of that. And a lot of smaller schools have adapted to playing that. And I watched a good bit of Terry Bussey yesterday, including, basically a full game of his. And I posted my findings on Patreon, patreon.com/LSU football if you want to check it out. And yeah, I mean, you could see it. You could see the level of competition isn't quite what it is. But then again, that's pretty much the case at every level of high school football, where you're going up against athletes that are just not the same as you're going to see in Division I Power 5 football, right? It's not only that the caliber athlete gets better, it's you then go into a classification where everyone is older, okay? So, yeah, and then something else about that, all right? And I really do feel this is important, okay? You get to this next level, and how you play has to change, okay? So one thing I noticed about Bussey on defense was he really couldn't ever go balls to the wall, full speed, hair on fire, Troy Polamalu style at safety. Because, well, you're playing a full game. He's running on kickoff returns. He's running on kickoffs. And he's also playing quarterback and a lot of quarterback runs. So you really just can't go a gazillion %. No one really can. Two-way at safety and at quarterback, right? Two of the most physically taxing positions, especially if you're a dual threat quarterback. So one transition he was going to have to make to the next level is playing full speed all the time on defense. So it's interesting. Let's say I had a Big Slim 225. Welcome to the channel. Hope you smash the subscribe button and like this video. Don't forget, if you want to see the full live stream schedule, bang, we will not go live tonight at 6 p.m. Central. We will stick with our normal schedule next week. All right. Tomorrow we will go live around 4 p.m. Okay. Might go a little bit earlier at 3, but I do have basketball games I have to call tomorrow. So let's just do 3 p.m. Tomorrow night, on Thursday, we'll do a 3 p.m. live stream. I like going live during the day because I am able to reach everyone. I normally go live at 8:15 Centrals on Tuesdays and Thursdays and Sundays. That's late. A lot of people got to go to work. Got a lot of viewers on the East Coast. So, I'm fine with doing daytime live streams. And look, this might be a thing. This very well could be a thing. Okay. Let's go to Ed. What's up? Simper, what's good, man? About to send your BTJ card in the mail. Let's go to Maurice. Played 2A ball. If you know, speed checks out, but very low level of top prospects in that division. Yes, totally agree. And look, I'm open to him coming to LSU for the next season. Now, it's time to do a giveaway. First $20 super chatter, we're going to give out Josh Williams. He's been one of our more popular players. This is a refractor, Josh Williams. So you get that nice little rainbow finish on it. And first $20 super chat will get that. First $50 super chat will get a Jaden Daniels 8x11 Heisman Trophy print. And if we get to a hundo, we'll give out some autographs. Let's do it. Okay. LSU is not in the top 12 of any too early rankings. Okay, we'll discuss that, a little bit more of a general conversation. I've talked so much Terry Bussey up to this point that if you do super chat, I'll go right back into the conversation. We also did earlier in the stream a breakdown of every 2024 prospect and how I feel about them. But for right now, I'll discuss Blanche's question. Blanche, I appreciate all your donations and love over the years, man. The top 12 way too early lists are overrated. I think they're underrated in terms of who actually will win the national championship, because normally the preseason rankings do a good job of predicting which one of like 4 or 5 teams are actually going to win the national championship. But I think for most of you, the main goal, of course, is to win a national championship. But the second biggest goal is just getting in the playoff, right? Getting your feet wet in the college football playoff. And LSU is probably in a closer range than, let's say, a Georgia, who I think is going to be elite next year, of being a team ranked in the 5, 6, 7, 8 hole. Okay. If you are one of those people, guess what? Or one of those teams, you're hosting a playoff game next season, which of course is more revenue and more eyeballs to the LSU brand. And I couldn't imagine a night playoff game in Tiger Stadium. It would be a completely different beast. And that matchup would likely be against a team that you don't normally play. So could you imagine if it's, well, I mean, this is a likely scenario, LSU versus Notre Dame in a playoff battle. What would you expect the ratings to look like? Or what could be potentially even better is Notre Dame hosting a playoff game where LSU goes and whips some Irish Buhani. So it's interesting. Let's go to Sipper with the super. First super, I really appreciate it. Terry Bussey. Never heard of her. The Terry Bussey does sound like the name of someone of a lady who runs a salon named Steel Magnolias. But yeah, I would be open to Terry Bussey coming to LSU eventually, though. And this first season at Texas A&M is going to be interesting. I think he's going to have a chance to play some receiver next year for them and DB. But we'll see. I'm very interested to see Texas A&M just in general, right? Mike Elko, it was supposed to be Mark Stoops, but then it became Mike Elko. And you guys know how I feel about Mark Stoops. I think he is the most single overrated college football coach of the modern era. I know I've never quite understood the nonstop adoration for this guy. But that's not here nor there. They end up hiring Mike Elko, and I think it's going to be a weird year for Texas A&M in year one. We do play them, and I'm looking forward to it. We will not be playing them on rivalry week. Okay, we will be playing Oklahoma on rivalry week. Okay, so let's go. Let's do it. Let's go to Kedrick. I like Billiot in his sophomore year as a standout for us. The kid is now 6'2", 205. He's going to be a player. If Billiot has moved up the rankings, I would say at this point, he is my number one receiver in the class of 2024. I would say at this point. And we'll see. Someone like him stepping into the room puts a lot of pressure on Kyle Parker, puts a lot of pressure on a guy like Shelton Sampson. So, yeah, I'm excited for Kylan Billiot stepping in. And it should be a fun day. Was LSU recruiting the kid from Opelousas that committed to Ole Miss, Trey Amos? Yeah, they did. He actually had a visit. Kyron Lacey did some of the recruiting there, and he still ended up picking Ole Miss. He picked Alabama last year, and he picked Ole Miss this year. So he can go kick rocks. You can't be from Louisiana, play at UL, and then skip out on 2 opportunities to play at DBU. Play at Alabama where he barely played, and then I was at Ole Miss. So I would say I'd wish you the best, but can't do it this time. I wish him good health. How about that? We say hi to the Master Blaster, Kenneth, Rob, Pinky, Greg T. Mill, we got a Taylor Swift debate in here. Dwayne says, most don't know who Swift really is. If they did, they'd want to drop her quick in a hurry. Well, enlighten us. Tell us if it's really that pertinent. Tell me why we should stay away. Yeah, I'm a proud fitness bro now. I drank my protein powder this morning. I've eaten nothing but air over the last hour. Normally in the morning, I'm 2 muffins deep. You weren't talking about Trey Amos. You're talking about Corey Amos from Opelousas. Okay. I was about to say Trey Amos. I don't think he was from OP. I think it was from somewhere in South Louisiana. I don't know a lot about Corey Amos. I actually just had to take a quick gander at his profile. And he also is an Amos committed to Ole Miss. So to make it extra confusing. 6'3", 205 linebacker. Sure. I love Opelousas. Ford is a guy I want at Opelousas for 2025. So, yeah, I like it. Let's see. Chris, what's good? Richard, a good morning to you. So Maurice says they tried to recruit Corey Amos. Okay. Let's see. Y'all want to chat some LSU Tennessee tonight? I'm down to do that. I've not watched Tennessee really all that much at all this year. They still have the Matthew Vescovi guy, the Italian, or he's not Italian. What is either way? A really good point guard for them. Man, Rick Barnes in the NCAA tournament every year. But we're going to Knoxville. It's Okay, yeah. So Uruguay is where Vescovi is from. Cool stuff. Uruguay. Proud home of Luis Suarez. Let's go. Um, you know, I think LSU will be competitive tonight, but then again, this game always kind of feels like one where you get blown out, right? You're going on the road, you're going to Knoxville. That is such a long trip. That is such a tough place to play. It's a very underrated men's basketball school because they're mostly known for women's basketball because of Pat Summit. But yeah, I mean, I think we can go in there and be competitive, but for some reason in my heart, okay, my heart's telling me that LSU is going to pull off the upset, but my brain is telling me that Tennessee is about to destroy us. But we'll see. We'll see. I think LSU's coming off a little bit of a break, and let's see if Jalen Cook and Jordan Wright can pull off one of the better upsets we have had recently. Tennessee currently a 13.5-point favorite tonight, and they're coming off a road 11-point victory at Kentucky. Okay. And their last home game, they lost to South Carolina, but South Carolina has turned into the best story this year in the SEC with Lamont Paris. So let's see what else you can do. Rob G, what's good? You're right. Clemson just went on the road and beat North Carolina. They did. Okay. But man, I'm not sure if Hubert Davis is the guy. I know they're good this year, but their best player is like a 6-year senior, Armando Bacot. Yeah, I don't know if it's a culture fit. I really don't know anything about Terry Bussey to say if it was a culture issue. He committed to Texas A&M, stuck it out to Texas A&M. Based on what I've heard, he's just a good kid. But we'll see. When it comes to stuff like that, I judge you by your actions, right? Like I could tell you this, Denver Harris was not a culture fit. Okay. But yeah. Let's go to Jordan. Yeah, you can go on the road, get it done. Now, here's what we're going to do. In the next 5 to 10 minutes, I'm going to answer as many questions as we possibly can. If you super chat, we'll keep it going. If you want to, I can go through the 2024 crop once again. And yeah, keep in mind, I normally don't get into like a player's personal situation, but Terry Bussey has had just the worst luck, okay, with him losing some close family members. But we'll go through the guys that are committed and actually signed to LSU already. Let me know. I'm going to scroll down here. Point out the players that stand out to you the most. Okay. You just let me know. Take a look at all these players right here. McBride, Singleton, Rutherford, Eccles, Rogers, Callaway, Hurley, Cobbins, Keys, Woodland, Lee, Washington, Bro, Cryer. Okay, so these are the kids from Cryer up that are signed. They're early enrollees. They're already there. Okay, now down here, these kids are signed but not enrolled. They're not early enrollees. Trade Green, it makes sense. He's a basketball guy, but they're not going to let him play basketball this year, apparently. Weston, and I say I'm saying the LHSAA, LSU probably wants him to play basketball if he wants to. at the high school level for his final year, but they're not letting him do it. Weston Davis, Kylan Billiot, Caden Durham, Jelani Watkins, CJ Jackson, Jawan Johnson, Xavier Atkins, Michael Turner, Ori Williams, Kazi Johnson, Foster Burrell, McKinley. Okay. Jerry makes the same comp we made a little bit earlier. Jawan Johnson, very similar profile to Terry Bussey. I think Bussey overall has just got a little bit more juice, right, in terms of athleticism. But yeah, I mean, Jawan Johnson, like Bussey, was a do-it-all quarterback who can do a little bit of everything. Let's go to Chris. Where does this class rank on BK's all-time recruiting classes? I think it has to be towards the top. Yeah, pretty much every LSU recruiting class he's brought in has been better, according to the rankings, than any class he's brought in at Notre Dame. Okay. So there you go. Maybe a relation. Okay. Chance says if LSU had 2 more big defensive tackles, this class would be amazing. I agree. I would love to see it, or if any one of the 3 big DTs that went to the NFL would have come back, Mason Smith, Mekhi Wingo, or Jordan Jefferson. I think Jefferson was at eligibility, but you'd feel a lot better about that defensive tackle room. Okay. Let's see here. Once again, we will go live tomorrow at 3 p.m. No live stream tonight. Okay. Sam Hartman didn't look too great at the Senior Bowl. Let me see Sam Hartman. Don't forget, support PHL, powerhourlsu.com/shop. Okay? powerhourlsu.com/shop. Get your merch today. About that to pay the web bill. Any chance any offensive lineman can flip to defensive line? It would be interesting. Okay. The thing that stings about the DT thing is LSU had some defensive tackles enter the portal over the past couple of months, and they just did to go play somewhere else. Maybe someone like a Jalen Lee steps up. This is a recruit it's been around for a while, class of 2020 player. He comes back. It's his final year of eligibility. Maybe this is his year. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. We'll see. Okay. So, yeah. Now, even though we're done here, doesn't mean you can't support PHL and continue the discussion elsewhere. Join our PHL Discord. It is down below. Link to the Patreon. Patreon gets you a link to the Discord. And it's a good way to support me, patreon.com/LSU football. Big shout out, top super chatter of the afternoon or morning has been Simper. I appreciate you. And we'll talk to you soon. It is Power Hour LSU. Bam! And tonight, We're doing burgers. Let's go. Let's go.